honor 4 years ago of performing the wedding of Edward and Karina. And I remember especially at the reception them dancing a very splendid tango. It was a tango, wasn't it? Well, something lascivious. I didn't tell them that in 1903 the tango was condemned by Pope St. Pius X. That's true. The program says that I am to speak on the Anglican Newman and present developments. Not more specific than that. I thought, well, what could those developments possibly be? Climate change, British petroleum. But I suspect the intention is the developments in the Anglican Communion now. So I preface my remarks by saying it is true, I was an Anglican. And I don't think I'd be here today. I know I wouldn't be here today had it not been for the formation I received. I remember very well William Lamson Griffin, my rector who baptized me, Bishop Benjamin Washburn confirmed me, Mrs. Beck in the Sunday school who taught me the difference between the Old and New Testaments. There was Mrs. Brooks who taught me about the Hebrew prophets. Mrs. Barkalow, our choir mother, I was a choir boy. Every Sunday she tried to, my hair used to stick up and she tried to brush it down. I think she brushed it too much. I could go on all the people in the parish that I served and great friendships and how much I learned from them. So I preface my remarks with that as background. On my 60th birthday, friends gave me a spiritual bouquet, and as there are a variety of spirits, they included a bottle of 1945 Armagnac. When I open that bottle, I shall be able to smell the liberation of Paris. But the question is, when should I open such a valuable thing? James Anthony Froude, the end of the 19th century, recalled that though Newman rarely drank wine, he was trusted to choose the vintages from the college cellar. While good souls have been sipping the wine of Newman all these years like sommeliers, arguing over the taste, it is now time to drink it full. For when Pope Benedict beatifies the great man, Deo Valenti, this year, he will be telling the world that the vintage pressed long ago is full ready for general consumption. Newman has been remaindered too often to the pantheon of beloved intellects whose poetic charm overcame the distractions of their religion, the same way temperamentally fragile revisionists played down Francis of Assisi as a mystical stigmatist and turned him into an ecological ornament. Newman was born in his day for today. The established church of his youth, which seemed like the flagship of empire, is now breaking on the shoals of reality. And what Newman proposed as a challenge to something mighty is now a call to rescue survivors. And yet, in any such calamity, there are both flotsam and jetsam. Pope Benedict's decision on November 4 of 2009 to receive Anglicans in a canonical personal ordinariate was a response to an appeal. He's not rummaging for flotsam, those floating logs who will drift to any safe shore. The Pope welcomes a full profession of faith in the Catholic creeds and a rejection of all that the sectaries have said in their contradiction. The jetsam are those who have been propelled by circumstance into a positive recognition that their own craft was not the bark of Peter. In the opening paragraph of the Apostolic Constitution, Anglicanorum Cetibus, the Holy Father says, "The Apostolic See has responded favorably to such petitions. Indeed, the successor of Peter, mandated by the Lord Jesus to guarantee the unity of the episcopate and to preside over and safeguard the universal communion of all the churches, could not fail to make available the means necessary to bring this holy desire to realization." I may stand accused of mixing metaphors of wines and ships, but sailors have never thought of two. If it is time to break open the wine of Newman, it is not like drinking the last dregs on a sinking ship, for it is very like uncorking a noble vintage that has been waiting for a special celebration. What Newman preached in his parting with friends at the time of his conversion, and when he wrote Heart to Heart in his Apologia, and when he summed up in his Biglietto address, have all found their moment now. It's very important to remember that Newman was classically trained. It is difficult to recreate a semblance of what that means in our Portsmouth culture, whose leaders are so bereft of those articles of civility and wisdom, which were the common language of types diverse as Cicero and Lord Chesterton and Harry Truman. We can go on. Newman's classical acuteness enabled him to tell the real thing from a sham. The logician Richard Whately said he had never known such a clear thinker. The established church of his youth was a mixture of spiritual aridity and institutional confidence. It was well expressed by Mr. Thwackum in Henry Fielding's Tom Jones, who says, "When I mention religion, I mean the Christian religion. And not only the Christian religion, but the Protestant religion. And not only the Protestant religion, but the Church of England." We can go back earlier. One of the most splendid, if also most obtuse lines ever uttered about churchmanship was that of the 17th century Anglican Bishop of Ely, Simon Patrick, who praised, and I quote, "that virtuous mediocrity which our church observes between the meretricious gaudiness of the Church of Rome and this squalid sluttery of fanatic conventicles." Newman knew that classical mediocrity is not what fuzzy thinkers today think it to mean when they address the religious controversies of our time in the turgid diction of Delphic oracles. Horace praised the men who loved well the golden mean, aureum quis media veritatem litigi. It was golden, not because it was a compromise between truth and falsehood, but because it was like a laser beam pointing the way between every mistake. Anglicanism, by force of political circumstance and religious confusion, had settled on a wrong idea of the golden mean as the bimedia of a bit of this and a bit of that, reducing the emphatic spirituality of Byzantium to polite ambiguity.